Hello, my name is Jacek Grymuza and I'm a representative of the ISIS 2 chapter Poland, in which I have been an active member for over 8 years. In addition, I am a senior security architect at SECON. During today's presentation, I will tell you how to hunt for security threats based on network data. I will start my presentation with a brief reminder of what the threat hunting process is, why it is important to monitor network metadata, and how it helps in the threat hunting process. In addition, I will present specific techniques that are worth having in your arsenal as a threat hunter, because many of them, although sometimes very trivial, allow you to detect malicious activity in your network infrastructure. Finally, I will tell you about the advantages of threat hunting and what to do to make this process efficient. The threat hunting process is based on the assumption that there are adversaries in our infrastructure, but we don't see them because we have imperfect threat detection tools. This approach allows you to formulate various hypotheses, for example, searching for adversaries either at the interface with the internet or in the internal network, or perhaps even in the context of selected services, systems, or assets. Due to the fact that we are aware of that there are no security systems that can protect our organizations in 100%, we can certainly go on such threat hunts in order to shorten the time of threat detection, which in turn, in many cases, will limit the effects of malicious activity. Later in this presentation, I will present use cases related to network traffic. As we can see in this graph, at the level of net flow monitoring, there are many techniques for detecting adversaries, such as advanced persistent threats, whose presence is more difficult to detect because they are targeted at specific organizations. The first technique I would like to draw attention to is the technique related to the traffic anonymization. This technique can be viewed from two sides. The first is the fact that traffic anonymization techniques allow people to communicate in non-democratic countries where censorship is enforced. In addition, we want to maintain anonymity ourselves. For example, through proxies or exit iCloud provide relay nodes to maintain our privacy. Cyber criminals also want to maintain the privacy, so from the threat hunter's point of view, you should search for all possible anonymization channels as those that are used by adversaries to hide. Tor network monitoring can be detected at the level of IP reputation, web protocol category, or port. From a network point of view, the Pika bot Trojan generates characteristics network traffic. Communication with C2 takes place on high ports. Our port identical to Quackbot proxy. User agents should also attract the attention of an analyst or threat hunter because it is non-standard. The HTTP protocol has many attributes that should be analyzed by threat hunters. System administrators use a technique called security for obscurity. And in order to confuse attackers, they set non-standard ports for non-services. For example, port 80 to port 8080. Adversaries can also mask themselves in the same way. Downloading, uploading suspicious files, abnormal HTTP traffic, suspicious user agents, the use of unencrypted protocols may pose a regulatory problem when it concerns regulated assets and non-compliance with secure communications policies within an organizations. Therefore, this type of activity may certainly indicate abuse by company employees, but it may also be traces of intruder activity. Monitoring problem with the TLS protocol, such as self-signed certificates, or a certificate issued for a longer period of time may indicate a lack of security hygiene. Binary downloads and uploads are particularly important elements to monitor because such content may also contain malicious files. Therefore, verifying what, where, and why is extremely important from the point of view of network traffic analysis. Of course, at the endpoint level, it is possible to detect this type of anomalies more precisely due to information about processes or commands, but analysis of certain HTTP MIME types in terms certain executable files in then and then in a volumetric view can help you identify security policy violations or security threats. The response characteristics of HTTP calls, for example, 400s, allows detecting both network problems and attacks, especially the volumetric ones. Exactly. The response, it is also worth paying attention to the user agent attribute. Detecting all user agent outside the whitelist is extremely difficult due to the huge number of legitimate user agents. It is therefore easier to monitor those user agents that are known as malicious, sometimes added as IOC in analytical reports. Here you can see example of such suspicious user agents. But from the point of view of threat hunter, I encourage you to make statistics showing the rarest UR agents. If they are distinguished by long names, incorrect coding, typos, commands, random characters, or empty, it is definitely worth taking an interest in the find. Attackers often use this feed for attacks such as SQL injections via user agent or XSS with user agent. So I recommend to monitor this type of activity. Now let's move on to the threat hunting techniques in the context of DNS. DNS traffic should be directed to define DNS services. So if you detect such traffic on unknown DNS servers, you should check it. I will talk about suspicious queries later in the presentation. Port TCP 53 TCP is used for zone transfer and should only be allowed between primary and secondary DNS servers. Other cases require analysis. Outgoing UDP communication outside of DNS or NTP services should be monitored because it may be suspicious communication. And the detection of short TTLs and different IP addresses for the same domain may indicate malicious C2 communications using the so-called fast flags. Frequently occurring incorrect DNS responses may indicate communications with C2. Detection of unusual TLD domains, for example, outside our geographic area of our business, or some exotic names should be considered to analyze. Of course, analysis of unusual DNS traffic volumes may indicate tunneling or data exfiltration. So fast flux is a technique used by cybercriminals to increase the resilience of their infrastructure by making it more difficult for law enforcement to block the IPs. Detection of this technique is possible by detecting the occurrence of multiple IPs for one domain. As we see, many threat actors use this technique. Suspicious DNS queries may include a mix of upper and lower cases, suspicious strings, long DNS queries, many subdomains in DNS queries, suspicious domains that are identified by a bad reputation or newly registered domains, and random names may indicate on domains generated by domain-generated algorithm. This type of queries may indicate malicious communications, DNS tunneling, or data exfiltration. The size of data being sent or received also allows for detecting of malicious activity. Let's consider some examples of such threat hunting searches. A search detecting multiple A records, DNS queries from a single host in a short period of time may indicate on malicious activity. A search detecting multiple DNS queries with a TXT or CNAME record from a single host in a short period of time may indicate on data exfiltration or command sending, and a search detecting a large number of bytes being sent in a short period of time indicate on tunneling or exfiltration. Suspicious long names may indicate malicious C2 communications. Here you can see an example of such a threat hunting search that detects domains longer than 60 characters. Analysis of rarely polled domains can be an interesting starting point for threat hunting process. Here is a query that displays domains that have been polled less than 10 times in the monitor time frame. An attacker can connect to a remote system via RDP to extend access lateral movement. Therefore, the detection of this type of communication should be the subject of further investigation. The use of RDP should be limited to desktop and servers. Yeah? So here you can see that we can focus on traffic in many RDP traffic in many contexts. For example, internal to internal, internal to but we can also monitor traffic in context of external traffic. The use of RDP to communication with the external should be blocked on firewalls. So such findings may be related to configuration error or unfortunately attacks. Yeah, so please look into this type of activity. When one host is communicating with different SMB or file shares, it may mean that the device is scanning the network for network shares. So such cases should be analyzed for possible abuses. Apart from this case, it turns that many organizations still use old version of the SMB protocol. For example, SMB version 1, which is known communication channel for attacks such as WannaCry or NotPetya. The SMB for one protocol should be disabled. ngrok is a legal reverse proxy tool that can help us create a secure tunnel to servers behind firewalls or on local computers that do not have a public IP address. But ngrok also is used by cybercriminals groups for lateral movement and data exfiltration. Configuring such service is very simple. Just run the ngrok HTTP command and specify the directory of the data you want to share. After executing the command, we receive a URL address where this data will be visible from the internet. And in fact, after clicking on this link, we see the shared data, and in this way we can exfiltrate data from the organization. So how could we detect such a technique? We can use a regular expression to find the word ngrok in the HTTP hostname field. I tried to use a reputation, but I didn't achieve a successful result. Okay, so where can we get knowledge about hunting techniques? We can use, for example, atomic red team. We can use thread report attack mapper, which is open source platform for automating the mapping of cyber threat intelligence reports to MITRE attack, and many use cases you can find on GitHub. Um, uh, what are the benefits of the threat hunting process? Threat hunting improves security in your organization, but you must remember to gradually transform threat hunting searches into automatic detection to improve your hunting concepts. So it's very, very important to try to automate the process to be to still be better and better. Okay, so if you want to deepen your knowledge in this area, I recommend you read this material. Here are useful links. And the first of links is related to threat hunting, example of threat hunting searches, so you can use it in your security systems. Thank you for the opportunity to speak at this conference. If you have any questions, please contact me by email or LinkedIn.